Good afternoon, and welcome to the Upper Great Plains Transportation Institute Capstone 2019 final presentation. I'd like to welcome our teachers, Alex and Dean, and our sponsors, Megan and Mohammed. Bradley was also one of ours, doesn't seem he's here. First off, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the company themselves. The Upper Great Plains Transport Institute, otherwise known as UGPTI, is a university transport center here on NDSU's campus, actually located just west of the Quintic Burdick building. They are one of a few university transport centers in the United States, with other ones being in Texas, Oregon, Alaska. Pretty much every large chunk of the country has a centralized university transport center. The company themselves have a few missions on their mission statement on their website. The first is research, which is conducting surveys, processing audits, and monitoring roadways in their area. Second is education, whether it be to students pursuing a degree in transportation-related fields or training government agencies, whether they be large or small, on their transportation-related topics and the tools that UGPTI provides, such as the one that we created. And outreach, which is acting as an impartial third party for government audits and other transportation-related issues. Areas of study are safety and security, freight and logistics as related to transportation. The reason that they asked for a capstone team this semester is that they need a way for counties to be able to monitor their roadways without having to send a person out to look at those roadways every time. The long term would be able to monitor specific locations, such as an important intersection or a curve in the road that tends to have more wear and tear than others. This is useful for administration tasks, such as remotely knowing whether or not something needs maintenance, or say a light at an intersection went out, or a sign got hit by a snowplow over the winter. The solution to this problem is an application. We've called the roadway image capture application. The way this works is that the user will get in their vehicle, and then as they're driving around on their roadways, they have their phone mounted in the dashboard. And the phone will periodically take images of the roadways and upload them to the central UGPTI server. This is a screenshot of the mobile app that takes and uploads the photos, and the web application that is used to view those photos on a map. In 2015, a capstone group was tasked with creating an Android version of this application, and our task for this semester has been to port that from Android to iOS. The schedule of this semester was determined in the beginning of the semester that since half of the team, Kelvin and Aaron, had previous iOS coding experience, that they would be tasked to a sub-project of porting the app from Android to iOS, whereas the second half of the team, myself and Nick, would be tasked with creating a cross-platform version of the application so that they could not only have the same application on both Android and iOS and Windows Phone, if anybody uses that, and also only have to keep one code base up to date. During the first sprint, we spent time establishing the requirements for the project and the workloads that each person would have to take on in order to complete those requirements. The second sprint, the iOS team worked on setting up the framework and basic functionality of the iOS application, whereas the cross-platform team, which was myself and Nick, but Nick decided early on to leave us, so it ended up being just myself, working on determining which cross-platform framework would be easiest to work with and creating the basic skeleton for that application. During the third sprint, the iOS team made leaps and bounds on their process and created most of the application, and it just needed a little bit of polishing by the end, and the cross-platform team continued to work on that. But by the end of the third sprint, UGPTI had determined that it was no longer feasible for the effort to be put in to continue on the cross-platform application, and that my time would be better spent working on other tasks. In the fourth sprint, final 4 weeks, the iOS application was completed, polished, finished, and now works. According to our analysis in the beginning of the semester, it would have taken 47 user story points to complete everything that is required for this project to be good. And as you can see, we have completed all 47 of those points. As I said earlier, the third sprint was the heaviest on the work, but there was a decent amount of work in every sprint, and we completed it as we projected. In fact, according to our burn down chart, at each sprint closing, we were actually ahead of what we had initially projected our work to be at that point. And now to talk about the progress and the actual implementation of the application, I'll hand it over to Aaron.
Thanks, Ed. So in this section about progress, I will talk about our user interface, implementation, and then we'll talk about some demo videos. So for the UI, the first time the user opens the application, they will be presented with a one-time password viewer. This is necessary because this app will be uploaded to the App Store, and UGPTI does not want unauthorized users to access the app. UGPTI will supply the user a one-time password, and when the password is entered correctly, this view will never be shown again. So for the main view of our application, we decided to go with a tab view. This tab view contains 4 tabs: Camera, Gallery, Help, and Settings. This is for ease of use and simplicity. The first tab I will talk about is the Camera tab. The Camera tab displays for the user a camera view and 2 buttons. The first button is the Start button and starts the capture of images. Once the Start button is pressed, it turns into a Camera button, which shows the user that pictures are being taken and lets the user know that they can take manual pictures. When the End button is pressed, the capture session ends and the app automatically navigates to the next tab, the Gallery view. The Gallery view presents the user with a collection of photos and a couple buttons. As you can see, on the top right and left, there are Edit, Upload, Trash, and Cancel. When the user clicks Edit, they are brought into Edit view, which presents the Trash and Cancel buttons. This also allows the user to select photos, which is shown to the user by the green check marks. If the user doesn't want these photos to be deleted, he can click Cancel. However, if the photos are desired to be deleted, they can press the Trash button, which will delete the photos. And finally, the Upload button will upload those photos to UGPTI, and then they will be deleted from the app. The next tab I will talk about is the Settings tab. The Settings tab contains 3 editable fields. The first field is the agency name. The agency name is useful for UGPTI to know who is taking photos. The next field is the picture quality. The picture quality has 3 settings: low, medium, and high. These settings adjust the compression quality of our JPEG encoded photos. The third editable field is the distance between pictures. This will adjust the distance or the frequency at which pictures are being taken. The final field is the miles before you run out of space. This is not user editable, but when distance between pictures and photo quality are edited, this will automatically be updated. The last tab I will talk about is the Help tab. The Help tab contains pages for the user to scroll through to learn about the application. These pages consist of screenshots of the app with markup and instructions on each page. Next, I will talk about implementation. In this section, I will talk about what's going on underneath the hood of each of these tabs. So in the camera tab, location tracking and photo persistence are the two main things. In the camera tab, location tracking is initialized when the user clicks Start. In this video that I'll click play on shortly, this is a prototype of our app driving down the road, tracking location, and resetting location when a threshold is met. So as you can see on the right, place markers are being dropped every 100 feet, and on the left you can see the green button is being depressed every 100 feet when a photo is being taken to let the user know. Photo persistence is another important feature of the camera tab. When photos are taken, they are persisted onto the phone using core data. Core data is a local relational database framework for iOS. Most of the data stored within our relational database will be uploaded to UGPTI's server for their use. Actual images and thumbnail images are stored locally on the app's file system. In the Gallery tab, the two main features are delete and upload. When photos are deleted, the rows from the relational database and files from the file system are deleted. When photos are uploaded, we use a framework called Amplifier to make a post request to UGPTI to upload the photos. Once the photos are uploaded, they are deleted in the same way. The last tab I will talk about is the Settings tab. The Settings tab has two main features: saving settings and updating the miles left. Saving settings is done using iOS's user defaults, which is a persistent storage in iOS meant for application settings. Updating miles left uses the quality of the pictures, the distance between the pictures, and the amount of storage left on the phone. Alright, so now I will show you some demos. This first demo is demoing the Settings tab. First, I will change the agency name, the picture quality, and the distance between photos. And notice when the quality and distance between photos are changed, the miles left will update. Oops. Go to the beginning there. Alright, so first we'll go to the Settings tab and click on the agency name. Again, the agency name is useful for UGPTI to know who is taking these photos. Next, I will set the picture quality. This picture quality is, again, the compression setting for the JPEG encoded photos. And lastly, the distance between pictures. Notice when I change distance between pictures and picture quality that the miles before you run out of space is automatically updated. In this next demo, I will demo the camera tab. First, I will click Start, and then this will start the capture session, and then I will begin driving. While driving, notice the green camera button will be depressed every 100 feet. And then when I'm done driving, I will demonstrate taking manual photos. So first, I will click Start, and that will begin the capture session. So now the phone is tracking the location, and every 100 feet, that green button will be depressed, and a photo will be taken. So now I'm going to go around the block, and as we speed up, you can see it's very consistently taking photos every 100 feet. As I come to a stop, I will demonstrate that you can take manual photos by clicking the green capture button. Next, I will demo the Gallery tab. First, I'll click on Edit, and then I will select 3 photos and delete them. Once I'm done deleting the photos that I don't want, I will click Upload. However, I'm not on Wi-Fi, so I'll be presented with an alert telling me to join or to get on a Wi-Fi network. I'll join a Wi-Fi network, and then upload will commence. So first I'll click End, and that will bring me to the gallery view. And now I'll click Edit and select 3 photos to delete. Now I will click Upload, and it will give me not connected to Wi-Fi. Once I connect to Wi-Fi, however, I'll click Upload, and all the photos will upload to UGPTI server. The last demo I have is of UGPTI's web viewer. This is the program that UGPTI will use to look at the photos taken with our app. So first I will navigate to where we took the photos in that previous demonstration. And then you can see every 100 feet there is a little triangle with the photos that we took. All right. Now I'll hand it off to Kelvin to talk about issues and risks.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm going to talk about issues and risks that we faced throughout the development of this project. Initially, we lost a group member, and that threw a lot of things in balance, but eventually we were able to balance it out and then take care of it. We had a problem uploading photos to the UGPTI server, but we spoke to our sponsors, and eventually that was taken care of too. We had a pesky bug with the camera rotation, which when we rotated the screen, the camera wasn't rotating as well. But through due diligence, we were able to take care of that too. I'm going to talk about postmortem, what we did and what we learned after during the project. The first thing we noticed was teamwork is very essential and crucial to the development of this project. And we noticed gradually as the project went by, our teamworking ability and skills developed, and we were able to work and communicate better as a team. Next will be engineering and development. With regards to engineering and development, throughout the project, we were able to develop our software development skills and tackle the problems we had faced on with the skills we had and some of the skills we picked on throughout the project lifecycle. The other thing would be documentation. We noticed documentation is a big thing. It is time consuming, so we do have to take care of it early on and stop waiting for last minutes. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the next steps for this project. The next step would be submitting it to the App Store on Apple, and then releasing the app. The other one would be documentation and code, handing over all the documentations that we had and the code base to UGPTI so for further development, and if they needed to, if they put another team on it, they'd be able to understand our code and make changes to it. That is all I have. I'll open the floor to questions.
I guess I have one. You didn't touch on this. It seems like it will be possible based on some other stuff, but everything you've kind of done in the demo was in portrait. I assume landscape works as well.
Yes.
Yes.
And I kind of noticed the viewer looked like it assumed everything would be done in landscape because in the little preview thumbnails it had your pictures looked like they were rotated sideways.
Yeah. So that was.
Yeah. Just,
Cameras only take landscape and they use a meta attribute to
Yeah.
define it.
okay.
That's what I was going to say. But, yeah, we noticed that when we're done with this, when we're done with this video, and then we just changed the metadata to tell it that it was in landscape mode. Any other questions?
Are there any measures in place for, say, you get less than like 5 miles left of images that can be taken? Are there any measures such as having it automatically increase amount of or distance between or lower quality to help preserve pictures to take? Nope.
Not really. That's why we had the live thing. Sorry.
You'll just run out of storage.
Yeah.
It'll stop. You can at least let the user know.
Yeah. So if you pick a high quality, you know how many miles you can go before you run out of storage. So
The phone will be letting you know, at least on iOS.
yeah.
The phone lets you know when you get down to a low storage amount automatically.
Just curious, it's not something you were doing yet, but when this goes to the app store, if some county wanted to buy it and have 5 different people driving different roads but putting all the information on a common map, is there an issue with that? Or do
It all goes to one map, so there's no issue.
Yeah.
is it one, does buying the app give you one map and then you have as many phones as you want, or how does that?
The app will be available for free, and that's what the password protection was for, to make sure, people who don't have access, don't have authorization, aren't able to upload photos. But the photos are uploaded regardless of what the agency name is filled in. That's just to help identify for future use when people are using the
Oh, okay,
map tool.
so if I buy the app, I can see anybody's.
Well, the
Photos that have been
actual
put on.
viewer is available on UGPTI's website, where
You won't be able to view photos from the app. You'll have to go to their website to view photos taken by the app.
And they're all put on the same map.
Yes.
Is that
publicly
part of
available.
buying the app?
No, that's separate.
The app takes
Basic
photos
work.
and uploads them, and then to view them, you have to go to the website and use their mapping tool. It's called the grid system to be able to look on it on the map and look at the photos there.
So you have to maybe buy a second app
Is
to
this
view them?
just a web browser
It's just
system?
anybody
Yeah.
can see them?
Right, yeah.
It's on
Publicly
UGPTI's
available.
website.
Oh, okay. I can see them with no license?
Yeah.
Oh,
All public.
Is there any measure put in place to make sure that the anonymity of the people of the picture are preserved?
There's not. It's assumed that it's supposed to be of the roadway, but I guess people could upload anything they want.
Public road.
Yeah. Exactly.
Could have someone's face if they're walking across the road or have their car license plate or something.
I assume it being public, there's not a lot they can really complain about. I understand companies like Google generally try and scrub that, maybe partially because they're using it for commercial purposes, or just, maintain privacy, but I don't believe there's requirements that you have to do so.
I suppose if you're walking along a public roadway,
Yeah.
your face is public as well.
Yeah.
It's no different than going to any traveler information website and looking at a live view of the cameras there.
Yeah.
There's no measures taken there, and this is not really any different.
This is just a way to provide counties with imagery that the state already collects with information. So it's a little different since the state's not having it on a map, but that's what they expressed interest in.
So far, it's just pictures.
Yeah,
not any
it's like
analysis.
highways generally.
Yeah, but no analysis of the photos yet.
No,
Just-
not in these, not in this specific case, no.
Any other questions?
I was curious what problems or challenges you encountered when you were trying to unify the code base or looking at that task. I know you had mentioned you switched off of that.
Yeah. When it came down to just being me, I have a newborn, and so finding time to work on it and the fact that it was an entirely new framework was really the issue. If I had more time to work on it, I could have figured it out, but
I
by
guess
the third sprint we realized it wasn't worth me trying to spend every moment that I had figuring it out.
sure. I guess I'm more curious about was there code that was specific to Android versus iOS that would be hard to factor out?
No, it seemed, I was using the Xamarin framework, which you just make the base application in C#,
Okay.
and then it will automatically translate it
I see.
into an iOS and an Android version.
Oh, okay, so that task was importing to Xamarin.
Right.
I see. Okay.
In Xamarin, you can have specific iOS and Android versions of your app. You can change code based on what platform you're on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.